What's up? Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Welcome to the BitLab Academy daily stream. My name is Kellam. Welcome to the show. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today, man. Things are starting to get a little spicy out there. And what the hell am I talking about? Things have been spicy. This whole year, we had that absolutely incredible sort of push up, over 100% push from 15,000 up to about 30, almost $31,000. Drop back down. Now we're touching that level. We didn't feel our bullish bias. Didn't feel like it was going to get down to those levels. What level am I talking about? Well, it's a very clear level, and it's this level right here. It's this blue box right here. If we zoom out on this, let's go to the daily chart. We zoom out on this, zoom down like this. These tops, boom. This is also where this bounce right here. This is I believe this is a Luna collapse. And then, although this stuff cascading after that, but this bounced right here. We could actually extend this out if we wanted to. Bounced, rejection, 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 rejection on the bottom side, rejection on the top side. Came further down, came up. Up here, it didn't feel like, our bullish bias said, man, it's going to be $200,000 in no time. But obviously, I never said that. I've been preaching, and I don't preach. I've been discussing and bringing up the necessity for capital management through all this, diversifying your portfolio, understanding the capital flow of markets between altcoins and Bitcoin and the pressures that's happening within the global markets. And you know what? The fact that we got rejected here and, where we're touching now, again, if we're looking at the roadmap of what's on the chart, if we're looking at previous price action, let's go to auto here, zoom out, we can see that this level that we're touching is a previous level right here. Excuse me. Am I having some issue? Is there any issue with the audio visual? For some reason, Alex Green is calling me. Hold on one second. Hopefully there's not an issue. Hopefully there's not an issue. Well, I don't know why he would be calling me while, he's on a time difference. That's why. Okay, that's good. I was worried because he's on staff here, and when he started calling me right as we're starting the show, made me think that we were having a big issue here. So sorry about that. Alex, you're fired. No, but step into my office. You're rehired because you're awesome. I'm just joking. We all make have mistakes sometimes, but we see this area right in this zone, which is right about the 24,800, 25,000 mark. This is also in line perfectly where this bounced, this is rejected, and this is where we're doing right now is perfectly within structure. If we don't look at any of these diagonal lines, and we're looking at all these horizontal levels of price memory of where price action is at in our activity on the chart, we're doing something that, if we push up, at some point we expect to come back and touch this. Now, we kind of almost touched it with this dip down right here, and now we've made it all the way down to this level. The question that we're fighting here is, are we going to, I'm going to actually pull this up real quick because I just realized I did not send this to copy. I did not send this to Morel. Let me send this right now. Okay, there. Okay, now coming back, busy morning. The structure of the price action, low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. Currently right now, we honestly, if we're looking at just price action, we have all the way from here, all the way down. We got another 21% we could go, almost 22% before we break this low. Now, I wouldn't want to see it come all the way down to here because that would be, I think that would stress a lot of people out. It would cause a lot of, it would mean for a lot longer of a recovery likely before we got any sort of exciting price action. Now, on the flip side of that, we have to remember when we're looking at price action on a chart, let me go ahead and pull up the BitLab trading stack. As you see, I'm trying to work in a number of different indicators for you guys to see how a bunch of different things work, not just our own, but we can see we've got these order blocks as well that are right here on the mesopic vision right here. This comes down well, this is not the order block. This is confused me because it's blue. But we have this green box that we were talking about back here coming down and tapping. We've tapped that liquidity. Now we've actually fallen through basically to the middle of it, of this blue zone that I was talking about. Would be, for me, a good opportunity to not necessarily buy, but a good opportunity to pay attention to what the potential Okay. To what the potential landscape is, and keep an eye out for a potential buy opportunity, because we're getting down into the zone, which is right at this previous high. If we're showing weakness here, we may be able to hold out for a purchase until we get a little bit lower. And this is this right here is obviously a great opportunity. If this were to come all the way down to these zones, let me go ahead and zoom. Let me double click there. Okay. It's these 2 points here. Projected out, we got a bit of a parallel channel, and we see we have an order block right here, all the way back from February 11th, that's projected out. And this is actually, if we were to fall straight down, which we've been doing a lot of very quick movements up and very quick movements to the downside. If we were to fall straight down, this would be perfectly in line with not only the order block, but also this projected support trend line that's down here. We have not tapped this area yet. Now, if we work our way down here, maybe we don't get all the way down here. Maybe we dip down to here and then have a wick down to this downside. There's a lot of bearishness in the chart, so I'm looking at that. But I'm here to tell you, we've got some good things we can look at today. There's some very, very bearish signals for certain things in the market, certain assets, certain asset classes within the digital asset ecosystem. And there is some incredibly bullish signals for King Daddy, Mr. Bitcoin here. Now, these are potentialities, and so we need to be aware of that, but we are going to look at that. We're going to be looking at a lot of different information today that's going to give us a deeper context as to what's going on. And in addition to all of this, we had the FOMC meeting yesterday. We got the pause. Got a little hawkishness in the press conference afterwards, which is exactly what I said was likely to happen. They're going to, basically soften by action, but harden by word, which is essentially what they did. And we're going to dive into that. Now let's go ahead and look at the general sort of market here. Before we do that, actually, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding that bell if you have not yet. I don't know what you're doing. Who'd your mother raise? You should be participating in the things that are providing things for you. We don't have, ads running on here and all this kind of stuff. So the easiest way you could pay us back is just participate in this, engage in the stream. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe, join us. We're pushing over 7,000, I think 7,520 or something like that. So if you're watching over at the Hit Network or watching a clip, because some other crypto channels clip this out as well sometimes, make sure you come over to youtube.com/@BitLab Academy, or you can just search BitLab Academy. We're pushing right about 7,520. Make sure you check out the daily alpha streams. These are, I should change this because it's not daily. This is basically just evergreen content with very useful stuff to tools, tips, tricks, signals, indicators, how-tos, how to master TradingView, indicators, understanding banks and Bitcoin, all the stuff. Now, before we dive into everything else, make sure you're coming over to the BitLab Academy Twitter page, which is right here at Academy BitLab. Hit that follow button, come down, hit this like button, hit this heart button. You will be entered to win. We draw tomorrow. We've been drawing every Friday. I think that's going to be coming to a close soon. We'll be doing it more periodically after that, but it is still active this week. So get involved while it's here. Now, of course, we can see here, we're talking about Bitcoin bought in record amounts. Bitcoin bought in record amounts from Blackrock and banks as the SEC is trying to suppress whales manipulating USDT peg. We're going to talk about that a little bit. Hong Kong forcing banks to support crypto. There's so much going on in every aspect of the context that is pushing the price around right now. So we need to dive into all this. But how's everybody doing? How you feeling? How you looking? Let's go ahead and zoom up here. I got the chat open right here on my screen. Let's go ahead and zoom all the way. I think Crimson Caravan was the first one in the room. Yeah, you said, we got Karen Swigart Harris, Sawtooth Hiker. We got Alexander G, Crimson Caravan Company. I'm George too. Shake and Bake, and I helped. Who else we got in here? We got everybody in here. Learning. I think I saw GS in here too. Mike Volmer, Total Clinic Solutions, Tenacious B, Rafiq Gafour, Crypto Kid. How's everybody doing? I hope you're all doing well. Are you buying? Put a 1. Have you been selling? Put a 2. Are you doing nothing? Put a 3. Let us know. Let us know what each and every one of you doing. Participate in this. It helps other people see that there's a variety of different strategies people are doing based on what their own risk tolerance and risk exposure is, what their own strategy is. Who else we got in here? Oh, we see a super chat from Sawtooth Hiker, $25. Thank you so much. I appreciate that dearly. Just wanted to say thank you to my BitLab fam and to you, Kelly, for working so hard for all of it. I appreciate that so much. It warms my heart. I'm just so happy that we can be building this community together. And Alex Green tuning in from Norway while he's out on a business trip. So thank you for being here, Alex. We're gonna have to move forward here. I see a Mellow Fellow also in here as well. Where's our boy? Where's Brad Guidell? Is he in the house? We're gonna have to send out. We're gonna have to put him in detention. It's tardy. Crypto JMP. Justin Eubanks. Hope your fam's well. We're gonna go ahead and keep this going now. I'm seeing a lot. I said I'm shopping. I'm schlonging right on Crypto Kid. Crawler, what's up? Now, okay, we're gonna just flip through some of these things real quick. But first, let's look at the market cap and the coin market cap, and just kind of take a peek at what's going on here. Okay, my audio is still working. I got Bitcoin the last 30 days down 8%. Ethereum down 9%. BNB down 25%. Had you had no awareness of the context of what's going on and you're holding BNB, you'd be like, well, why do I have a dud? I think BNB is actually quite a good asset. However, of course, we know that is tied in with all the got hiccups over here. Tied in with all the FUD that's coming out from the SEC and the Binance case, because of course this is a Binance asset. Then we got USDC coming in right where it should. USDT had a little bit of an issue, and we can see this right here on the right here. You see this? They call this depegging. What does that mean? Depegging means these stable coins like Tether and USDC and several others, but we'll talk about these two primarily, are built and expected to continue to operate right as close to right on a dollar. It's supposed to be pegged to the US dollar. And so they have mechanisms in place that are coded into how these things operate, and their reserves and you know, the buying and selling and the issuance and burning of these tokens that keeps them right about a dollar, right at a dollar. And we can see right here, we can actually pull it up. I'll pull it up in a little bit. We can see right here, this peg down to, I think about, let's see what it went down to. Went down to not that far. Everybody's really, you know, losing their wits about them because it was dropped, you know, from a dollar down to 99.6, which is a 0.004 difference. Now, that may not seem like a lot to you, but I think this right here, when we're getting this sort of movement, brings up the PTSD that came from the Luna collapse and the UST collapse. UST was tied, Luna and UST worked in tandem with each other, and when UST just got driven down, it forced a lot of burning. The whole collapse of the Luna ecosystem happened, you know, starting with something like this. I don't think that's going to happen. I think you can't quote me on this, but I would expect that this is going to be fine. So, but we got to talk about it a little bit. Now, coming over here, let's come back to the page. I'm going to go to watch list. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to see, okay, Cadena down 36% the last month. Algorand down 34%. Another coin that was tied in with that lawsuit from the SEC. Phantom down 34%. Decentraland. There's so many things. If you have patience, there's so many things that if you have patience and a diversified portfolio, I would not recommend going all in on any of these. Any of them. But if you have patience and you do some diligence on the different projects that are all in different types of ecosystems, and we can see right here, if we come over here to, this, so, this is not what I want to look at. Is it? No, it's not what I want. I can't think. Man, my brain's not working right now. There's another token, Coin Market Cap Explorer that I was going to look at that identifies what each sector each one of these are in: smart contract, metaverse, gaming, etc. I was just going to pull that out. But essentially, if you're diversifying your portfolio, say you have Bitcoin and Ethereum, or Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Cardano, or Cardano and Ethereum, whatever your balance is, and you have, you know, several other coins, and you're trying to just take a little bit of a shot at some, you know, some protocols that you haven't had any exposure to yet, Looking at this 30-day negative here, this positive, this is negative, you're seeing the biggest losers over the last 30 days. And you could start identifying stuff that fits within your interest level, stuff that you feel like this is something you've wanted exposure to. Because, I mean, think about, even Cardano. I mean, this was all the way up at $3, at the top of the last bull market. And, of course, this got a huge hit. And this happened most recently, 20% just in the last 7 days. Took a huge hit from it being labeled a security from the SEC. Now, it's important to note, this label is not something that it's not a permanent label. It's something that is just, it's an accusation from SEC right now. Now, the question is going to be, what's the resolution of the XRP case? When's it going to happen? When is the resolution going to happen? What is it going to be, in favor or out of favor of the XRP? And if it's in favor of XRP in any regard, that's going to have ripple effects. No pun intended. It's going to have ripple effects as to some legal precedents and some assurity that consumers and retail investors and institutions, just money in general, people have money in these markets. It's going to give them a little more assurance that of what the roadmap's going to be moving forward. Of course, now we also have Binance and Coinbase that are also roiled in all these lawsuits. Coinbase's lawsuit being more important they're both important, but Coinbase is being more important in regards to what is going to be labeled a security or not. That's primarily what the Coinbase lawsuit is about. It's a little different, but to sum it up, that's what's going to be gained from a resolution of that lawsuit. Now, if it's completely negative and they suppress the hell out of everything and say everything's a security, then that will have effects. Yes, that will actually suppress big parts of the market. But at the same time, you've already onboarded so many people within the crypto markets, within the digital asset ecosystem, that they may not all stay, but there's a lot of liquidity that's going to be exited from those altcoins that will, I would guess a large percentage of it would be basically diverted and reallocated into coins that they feel are more safe, that aren't roiled in these lawsuits like Bitcoin and Ethereum and potentially others. We're going to have to see how these cases play out. But we have some things in the news. We have some things going on that are suggesting that, some other countries are really making some strong moves. And I don't want to say in opposition to, but in response to our lack of response in an empowering way. So let me go ahead and pull this up. One second. There we go. This is what I wanted to show right here. Okay. Bam. It's this right here. Hong Kong reportedly pushing top banks to support crypto firms. You see what's happening here? The other parts of the country, of the world, Russia, China, Hong Kong, I think India is moving somewhat into this as well. There's a number of countries out there. And when we're really thinking about it, let's think about these major countries, Russia and China. When you have Hong Kong on China's doorstep, and let's be honest, China does pull the strings for what Hong Kong's going to do. And I feel like in some ways this is a bit of a testing ground for what's going to play out into China. But this is a little bit of my own speculation. But the targeted banks are HSBC, Standard Chartered, and then this supports my statement, and the Bank of China. Hong Kong recently legalized crypto for retail investors. This is important right here, especially when we're thinking about what's going on with the markets. We're wondering about liquidity. We're wondering about how we're going to get any push up. We have to remember the U.S. is not the only person on the stage in the world. Everybody, every one of us is here in the U.S. We need to stop being so damn arrogant about what we do and what we control. We don't need to play a sport that nobody else plays and say we're the world champions. Let's be patriots, sure, but let's tamper our humility a little bit here. Let's bring back our arrogance and realize, especially when you're involved in markets globally. When you are trading assets that are traded globally, we need to be aware of all the players on the stage. So we're worried about what the US is doing. At the same time, we're getting a little bit of I don't want to call it a silver lining, but we're getting a little bit of a pushback that is a counter force to all this negativity the US is doing to suppress crypto. Let's look at this. Hong Kong pushing banks to support crypto firms. This is opposite of what's happening in the US. This is awesome. It's going to put, I mean, if anything, I think, and I've said this before, I think one of the things that's going to tip the scales in favor in the US government decisions about how we're going to support or suppress crypto. I think what's going to happen, what's going to be finally acknowledged by a lot of these dum-dums that are in office, and they're not all dum-dums, but let's be honest, it's a pretty high damn percentage. There's going to be a reckoning at some point when somebody realizes us not empowering, supporting, and being a part of the crypto development and you know, holding our place on that stage in some sort of competitive fashion ends up becoming a national security risk. That, I think, is going to be what's going to catalyze people on both sides of the aisle and the Department of Defense and basically the Department of Justice, the government as a whole, to really say, okay, we have to support the best innovation of multiple lifetimes. What is that innovation? Believe it or not, it's transparency. Isn't that crazy? Now, there's going to be transparency through blockchain is really what I'm going there. So when we're talking about that, when we're seeing these things develop, you know, we can kind of come back over here and look at this chart right here. This is from the Rational Roots Bitcoin strategy platform. You come over here to, where's global liquidity? Right here, boom, macro global liquidity. And we can see, this is what I'm looking at right here. This blue line right here, this is, you can see with my mouse over it, this is global liquidity. This is while the US liquidity was flat, but we're seeing what? Global liquidity come up. Now, what does this come up? What does this mean if this is coming up and the price is going sideways on Bitcoin? This is known as a bullish divergence. You can have divergences across multiple different signals or indicators or different correlated assets. What you're looking at is when one asset is moving up while the other one's going flat or moving down. In this case, this is a bullish divergence because liquidity, if you have more liquidity, that means all of a sudden you have a lot more fuel for the car, but the car's still not going anywhere. This is suggesting if somebody's fueling up the car, maybe that car is about to take a trip. Boom, that's exactly what happened. Now, of course, we see right here, look at this. This starts selling off prior to the drop in Bitcoin. So global liquidity starts decreasing, Bitcoin starts selling off. Now this starts pushing up in tandem. This starts selling off about the same time that Bitcoin has been having all these troubles. So we can point to one thing. We can point, think about this. We can point that it's Gary Gensler's fault. We could point to it being Gary Gensler's fault. We could point to it being Janet Yellen or Elizabeth Warren or President Biden. But if we strip all of our biases away and realize there's always more context, and I'm not saying all of them don't have a hand in this, but what I'm saying is if we look at this metric by ourselves and we haven't seen any of the news or don't listen to any politicians ever, just looking at the global liquidity, we can see the story of markets and risk on, risk off behavior directly tied to this global liquidity. Now, what's interesting about this is you see this dip here, push up, dip. We're getting a little bit of a double bottom here. If this is going to come up, and let's go kind of come over here. Let's come back here for one moment. China stimulus. We're pulling the news together live on air, baby. Don't even know if this is going to be a good example, but so this is something that a lot of people are worried about. More stimulus expected. More stimulus is exactly what this was right here. Liquidity. This is stimulus. This is liquidity being injected. The biggest components of this, I think, it doesn't have it on here. Biggest. This is not what I want to see. There's another one that I had up earlier. Yeah, I don't know where it's at. The point here is one of the two largest players are China, U.S. and China, and then we have then we also of course have the European Central Bank and all these different components that make up global liquidity. And a big part of this right here was China pumping liquidity in the market. How do I know that? Because we can come over here, we can come on the Bitcoin chart, go right here. Actually, you know what? I'm going to pull up. Yeah, I'll do it. I don't know if I can get it to. You see this spike right here? Boom, coming up. This front ran price going up. Price went up way back here. This is still going up, and look at this. Now we're getting bearish divergence on the Chinese 10-year right here. So the question is, at some point, option T, question is at some point, when are we going to have this break back up to the upside? This is a Chinese 10-year. Now I'm going to turn that off. And what we need to be aware of is, yes, there's all this political shenanigans going on in the U.S. with this complete lack of awareness of what's going on with global markets and how Bitcoin and digital assets are not only a major component of them, although the market cap is small comparatively of the digital asset ecosystem. It's small comparatively to nearly any other equity or commodity out there. Look at gold is, in the, like 12 trillion or something. I don't know it off the top of my head at the moment. Then you have, the housing markets and real estate, hundreds. I mean, it's so much money. Bitcoin is a drop in the bucket and digital assets, but the adoption curve of this and the utility and use case, nothing else can compete with how effective blockchain and digital assets, crypto are. This is inevitable. And when the U.S. starts to realize that, it's going to be absolute floodgates. The problem is whether or not China and Russia realizes that. I think one of the bigger incentives is right now, my ear's itching. One of the bigger incentives right now for China and Russia is the fact that we are slow to the plate right now. We are dragging our feet just with numbskullery. And they're like, well, this is an opportunity that we can capitalize on because the U.S. is basically walking with a blindfold down a bright alley, telling everybody it's dark out. Did you hear that? The U.S. government right now, the way they are interacting with the digital asset ecosystem and trying to suppress it, while Russia and China are diving into this digital asset ecosystem, supporting it, Hong Kong even pushing banks to support crypto. The SEC is currently walking down a bright alley with a blindfold on, telling everybody it's dangerous because it's dark out. Take the damn blindfold off, Gary. All the data is here. You're worried about transparency? The question is, why aren't you worried about transparency with the dollar? Digital assets are the most transparent forms of money, forms of currency, forms of technology that you'll ever get. So step up to the plate and let the rest of the world and U.S. citizens take a swing together. So that's all I got to say on that. Now let's go ahead and dive back into some of these things that we wanted to talk about here. One of the things is some of the key takeaways from the FOMC meeting. Fed pause, no change. Fed pause, no change to current quantitative tightening program. Powell said that no policymakers see rate cuts this year. It will be appropriate to cut rates. So he's still talking about cutting rates. When inflation comes down, I said still. He hasn't yet been talking about rates is what I meant to say. It will be appropriate to cut rates when inflation comes down. Now, we are seeing that it has been coming down, but it's still very high above where the target of 2% is. Core PCE, personal consumer expenditure, I think it is the main concern. The Fed have revised, I thought this should say has, that's why it tripped me up. The Fed have revised their dot plot higher from 5.1 to 5.6. What is the dot plot? The dot plot is essentially each one of the Fed members plots out exactly where they're expecting, the terminal interest rate to be at, when they're done rate hiking. Fed projections for GDP growth and employment are now more optimistic. This is good. We also had jobs numbers come out today, I believe. The market is now pricing a 25 basis point hike in the next meeting in July. So what do they mean by this? Well, this is, if we come over here, come to CME, Fed Watch tool, this is what they're talking about. People are pricing in a 25 basis point hike. Why do we know that? Because this is where we're currently at. This would be, this is looking at for the 26th of July Fed FOMC meeting determination. So this, if people are betting this, they're betting that there's going to be a 25 basis point hike. But you cannot trade specifically on this knowledge, because we have seen on just one news story alone or one talking point alone, this could flip 100% back to the other way, where this is 67% and this is 30%, or this is 80% and this is 20%. So we're going to be keeping an eye on this over the course of this next month so we can get some sort of idea as to what's going on. Let's go to Forex Factory. ForexFactory.com/calendar is what I use. Not sponsored or anything. It's just a good free tool. And you can see all the different stuff, all the economic data that's coming out that could affect markets. Now, coming on, what is today? Thursday. So boom, boom, boom. Unemployment claims. This is what it was. Unemployment claims. So we had an expected 246. We came in above that at 262. Now, as sad as it is that more people are losing their jobs, in terms of the way the economists are looking at the markets, especially the Fed chairs. Oh, sorry. I just did that without you. My bad, guys. I had to stretch. My back was killing me. The unemployment claims, if we're having unemployment go up, that's something that leads to the expectation of also liquid capital in markets being less because more people are not in work. It's an indicator that there's some economic stresses going on, and therefore it's less like, it gives more of an incentive not to raise rates. So if this kind of persists, it's terrible that more people are losing their jobs. But when we're looking at it in terms of the economic landscape, this is one of the things that Jerome Powell has been wanting. And everybody kept arguing that the jobs market is very resilient, and maybe this time's different. But I do think that we are going to get a spike in unemployment here over the next. I think this is going to be a little bit persistent, meaning maybe coming in a couple times higher than expected. Which is, if we're talking about the interest rates in July, this is what we want. July and beyond, I should say. Now let's go ahead and kind of continue moving on here. Continue. Oh, this is something we need to pay attention to. This is when the Fed pivots. You see this? And you see what this the S&P 500 did after the pivot? The actual lows of that market cycle come in. So there is a potential. Everybody's saying we've been in a recession, but if history were to repeat, and we're thinking about Bitcoin, and we're thinking about what's going on, where we think price is going, that's what all this is about. I don't really care where it's going in the next 10 minutes. I want to know what's going on the landscape. Yeah, I will I will scalp trade, sure. But the place that you make the most money is making very educated guesses, stacking the probabilities in your favor so that you can capture moments like this, and moments like this, and moments like this, and moments like this. Now, we could DCA the entire way, sure. But I like to be a little more sophisticated than that. Rather than be, on this pullback, say this is a bottom and go up, which in this case, look at this. Look at where we're at right now. We have the potential of going much lower on traditional markets. Now, will Bitcoin break away and just start going to the moon? It's possible. I think it's not likely. I think it's something that may happen in future cycles. But I think as where we're at right now, especially with the uncertainty of the landscape of the digital asset ecosystem, the uncertainty of all the shenanigans that Gary Gensler and the lack of clarity and regulation that's in place, I think the risk on, risk off narrative, the correlation between certainty and uncertainty, the correlation between risk on being determined by markets going up, and when the markets are going down and there's uncertainty in the markets, risk off, meaning digital assets because they're smaller market caps and not a proven to traditional minded people, traditional asset minded people. It's a little bit of the Wild West, and let's be honest, it is. We don't have clear regulation yet, so how can we argue that it's not a little bit of the Wild West? So if this is a pivot and we get lower each time, then what's going to happen here when we pivot? Where could the markets go? We just need to be aware of that. Now, so here we go. This is in regards to the FOMC meeting. According to Huda, who is, I forget who she is. I believe it is a female. Because I read this article, but we're just gonna do it from this point. According to Huda, the market's reaction could be attributed to comments by the Fed, which is that press conference, which was after the pause. Everybody's like, pause, we should go up. Well, what I tell you, if there's going to be some, a pause, which we feel like is good, then they're going to be more hardline, a little bit more uncertain they're going to sort of throw water on the fire when we're talking about what's going on in the press conference. That's exactly what happened. As expected by the market, Federal Reserve kept the fund rate unchanged at 5.25%, pausing the rate hikes for the first time since March 2021 in a unanimous decision. Do you realize that? I thought it was a year later than that, but I could be wrong. Yeah, I'm not sure. I thought it was a year later than that, March 2022, but I could be wrong. I've been looking at a lot of numbers lately. Although the Fed Chair Jerome Powell has tempered expectations of interest rate reductions this year. So this is the part right here. Tempered, saying that we're not going to likely get a cut this year. It is probable that there will be increases in interest rates in the future in order to control inflation, he said. So he's saying, okay, we're pausing. It doesn't mean we're just going to reverse course now. That's essentially what he's saying. And you see that in the markets with the uncertainty about what's going on. So this is just a headline. Could it be a couple of years? I think it'll happen before that. But before we go any further, I want to shout out everybody. If you have not hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and ding that bell. What are you doing? Give us some love. Let YouTube know you like crypto content. That's what you're doing when you like this channel or any crypto channel. You're not just helping us, letting YouTube show us to more people, but you're also letting YouTube itself know that there's a metric that they can measure of people showing engagement and liking crypto content in general. It helps the entire crypto ecosystem. So you're doing I'm Medea now all of a sudden. You're doing your part just by hitting the like button, subscribing, and hitting that notification bell. Now, before we get into a couple more stories here, we're going to do a bunch of TA as well. Make sure you come over to BitLab Academy's page, at Academy BitLab. Hit this retweet, hit this like button. You get entered to win. Last week, we gave away $100, and I don't know if he's in here. Quarter Crawler, you still got to email me, buddy. I want to take care of you for last week. help@bitlabacademy.com. Get it, brother. And if you have emailed me, I apologize. I did not see an email. I will look in the spam folder because I was looking all day yesterday and today. So also make sure you come over. If you haven't yet, make sure you give me a follow right here at Kellam, KELLYKELLAM. Make sure it's the check mark and the hit thing. We will be doing our crypto answer today at 4 p.m. I got Gary Cardone on today. Gary and Grant Cardone. So super famous investor guys. They're going to be on. We're going to be doing that at 4 p.m. today. We were not able to do the AMA yesterday for BitLab Academy members in Discord. There was a meeting, and then something got also an issue with Discord. So I saw Karen Swigart Harris messaged about it, and you also said there was some issue about the time today. So we also have our crypto answer today at 4 p.m. So I'm going to determine a time in the next 3 days that we can do it together. Now, I salute you, Redman. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the last few things we wanted to talk about. Oh, we got to talk about the USDT depegging. Is this scary? What happened? Long story short, if you read all the way through this, a whale bought a bunch of stuff, moved a bunch of stuff, and then basically it's a little bit of a manipulation, causing the depeg because it was such a large amount moved. He bought something, borrowed something against it, and then put it on Aave, and then it was a manipulation tactic. And if it wasn't, then I don't know why he was doing the things he was doing. We don't need to dive in further to that. I think USDT is going to be fine. But even if it's not fine, I have my assets diversified between different wallets. different cold wallets, hard wallets. You know, I have some money on exchange because I trade it, or assets, I should say. And I also have traditional assets that I invest in that are just more of a long-term hedge that I just auto buys every month. So regardless of what happens with USDT, there's nothing I can do about it. I feel like there's something. Oh, it's a shadow on my nose. You see that? Kind of looks funny. I thought something was on my monitor. What else was there? So stimulus expected. This is what we want to talk about right here. Boom. And then we're going to jump into a bunch of the TA. Now is your time right now, everybody, to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding that bell. And we are going to, I want you to all put in one crypto. If you had to have that crypto had TA on it, which one would it be? You don't need to do Bitcoin, Ethereum, or XRP. Excuse me. Put it in now. And the mods will look at them and the few that they see the most of, and maybe, yeah, I got the hiccups or something. Maybe an obscure one as well. We're gonna do a bunch of TA here at the end of you know, breaking down what's going on, where things could go, and having that look. Hedge your bets, spread the load, mitigate that risk. Yes, sir. So BlackRock, Fidelity might be aggressively bullish on Bitcoin. Well, we know that BlackRock is. They did file, yeah, right here. BlackRock close to filing Bitcoin ETF. So this is going to fuel some of the understanding of why we can, I don't want to say believe, but it makes sense why if BlackRock was buying, because in order to do an ETF, you're going to need tens of thousands at minimum, tens of thousands of Bitcoin. I mean, how many? Let's look at this. GBTC. If you know what GBTC is, don't say that you know what it is. Don't say what the full thing is. Throw one in chat if you know what GBTC is. If you don't, you're going to learn right now because you need to. It's a traditional asset exposure opportunity for people to buy Bitcoin without buying Bitcoin. They can buy a share of GBTC, and it's essentially a non-ETF ETF. GBTC total reserve BTC. Let's see. So Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. You see this? They own 636,000 Bitcoin as of August 2022. Now, do I think that BlackRock is going to, you know, are they going to need to get 600,000 Bitcoin? I mean, not to start, because that is an astronomically large number. Is that, I mean, I did not think it was that high. Yeah, I guess it is. Over 600,000 Bitcoin. Wow. That is so much money. Grayscale. Let's see. Okay, yeah. My mind was getting a little twisted there for a second. Sometimes you look at so many different news stories and you learn, you're diving into so much stuff that sometimes you're like, wait a minute, is this tied in? So BlackRock, Fidelity, and Bank of America as well, I believe. Yeah, and Bank of America. You know, did you know that while the SEC was busy suing Binance and Coinbase, BlackRock and the biggest banks in the U.S. silently bought record amounts of Bitcoin? So this is something that we want to pay attention to. So what does this mean? Their authors tracked the activity. Their authors tracked the activity of the two heavyweight asset management firms, BlackRock and Fidelity, plus Bank of America, in terms of their exposure to MSTR. So this is something we have to be aware of. What is MSTR? You don't know what MSTR is. You haven't been here long. MSTR is MicroStrategy. Let's go ahead and pull. I'm going to go. Let's do it on the CME futures chart. MSTR. This is MicroStrategy. So why does this matter? Why does this matter if we're talking about Bitcoin? Well, MicroStrategy is a software company. Okay. And no longer the CEO, but still a major person that's involved with this, Michael Saylor. You know, he's basically took them from about a $400 or $500 million market cap software company to now being essentially, it's like a Bitcoin exposure stock. You buy this, MicroStrategy owns 146 or 140 something thousand Bitcoin. So this is, I mean, look how similar this looks to Bitcoin's price. I mean, it obviously has a different trajectory, but very similar. And when the value of Bitcoin starts going up, people that have bought MicroStrategy at these lows, the value of this is going to go up as well, because the underlying assets that MicroStrategy holds is going to go up in tandem with the value of Bitcoin. Now, this also works conversely. When the value of Bitcoin drops, we also see, of course, the software company didn't have any other issue, but the value of Bitcoin dropped, so this fell. So people have been getting, my mother as well, getting exposure to Bitcoin without having to participate in the Bitcoin digital asset Wild Wild West, if that makes sense. So they can go on their traditional stock, brokers and so on and so forth, and get their exposure this way. Now, coming back over to this article, the largest corporate holder of Bitcoin is MicroStrategy. You see this, MSTR. For corporations that are not interested or limited in buying Bitcoin directly, MSTR MicroStrategy shares usually serve as a reliable proxy investment to get exposure to Bitcoin price performance. So we need to understand these correlated assets and how they affect these the different parts of the market. Bank of America also increased its MicroStrategy share through Bank of America Securities. Its stake size spiked by over 47,000% as displayed by Bitcoin Culture. This is incredible. 47,000%, and how much they have staked in MicroStrategy. That means they dropped. They had almost nothing in there, or a very small amount, and dropped, probably hundreds of million. I don't even know. They bought a lot. Also, MicroStrategy stocks are aggressively accumulated by the largest Canada banks and investment platforms all over the globe. According to statistics by Bitcoin Treasuries, Treasury is the most reliable tracker. Let me read this. According to the statistics by Bitcoin Treasuries, the most reliable tracker of Bitcoin bags of publicly traded companies, governments, and investing conglomerates, institutions are currently responsible for 1.65 million Bitcoins in total, which is equal to 7.8% of its net supply. So we're starting to see, despite the lack of regulatory clarity on the digital asset ecosystem, there's still expectation, hope, and trust that that there's a high likelihood Bitcoin is going to make it. They're getting a lot of traditional asset exposure to assets that have direct Bitcoin exposure. So they're basically finding a loophole so they can get this exposure without having to dive fully into Bitcoin yet. Some of it has to do with stock, with shareholders, with boards, with regulations as a corporation of what they can and can't invest in. But MicroStrategy and GBTC, these are traditional assets that probably work through that. Only court can decide whether something is security. That is right. The SEC only brings charges. All these things that he's saying do not hold water until they're actually basically the gavel's rung true that, yes, this is to be so. Now, everybody, you got to stretch it back a little bit. I think it's because this chair is so high and my computer, all this stuff's up here. It just kills my back. Oh, okay. So we talked a lot about all this. We got global liquidity. Global liquidity looks like it might be rounding out here. If we get the stimulus in China and we're having digital assets by law, legally allowed the citizens in Hong Kong and China to participate in the digital asset ecosystem, and we get that stimulus, what could happen? We're going to have to see, but we need to be aware of that. Now, short-term holder cost basis, let's go ahead and take a look at this before we do a bunch of RTA. Now, we have lost this level. This is a bearish indication. What happens? Look at this. When we lose this level, now we dipped below this shore here and came back up. But when we lose this level, it ends up being basically a trend determiner. So much so that I have a look node. I have an on-chain data chart that one of these data service providers, let me go ahead and take my thing so you can't see my email. One of the things, it's this service provider, they asked if they can host my chart on here, and I was honored. I said, absolutely, good sir. here it is, cycle valuation, trend fib, opportunity zones. Now, if we turn off all this other stuff, the extreme hype, bull control, where are we at? What we're looking at right here is just we'll turn off the green one too. See this line right here, this dark pink line? This is the short-term holder realized price, the cost basis for short-term holders. So all coins that have been bought within the last 155 days, I believe it is. Anything younger than that, anything that's been held for shorter than that amount of time, or the only other way it can get out of that designation is if you sell me a coin and my wallet historically has held 75% or at least 75% or more of the tokens that are being held in there are being held in long-term fashion, then it will be taken out of this measurement as well. But essentially what you're looking at is short-term retail and basically quick volatility traders and long-term holders, which is this line right here. You see this line right here? This is the long-term holders. Coins being held longer than 155 days. And this is averaging all those coins, the price value the last time they moved. So this moves quickly because it's all coins that have been moving within the last 155 days, right? It's not a 155-day moving average. It's not thought of that way. It's the average of every Bitcoin the last time it moved if it has been bought and traded in the last 155 days. So when you lose this line, this has been an excellent determiner that we're in a bear market. When we get into it, strong bullish impulse. When we lose it, a lot of kerfufflery. This is whatever. See this here? We lose it. Rejection, rejection, rejection. Now, when we zoom in on this, I can't do it like that. When we zoom in on this, we have lost a short-term holder realized price. So we need to either have a very strong short squeeze where we just get an absolute pop to the upside, or we're going to have, likely a little bit of maybe a bit of a season like this. We have to be prepared for it. I just want to point that out before we dive in to do all this TA. Now, we got 233 people in the room. 150 of you were raised well by your mothers because you participate in something by giving back, hitting that like button, hitting that subscribe button. It's the easiest way you can help this channel. Do that. We're going to dive into the TA now. Now, when we pull up my Discord from my mods, okay, we got Flow. We haven't done Flow. I think, I don't know if we've ever done Flow on the channel. Caspa, Adam, Vet, Bank, Dot, and Bat. All right, I'm going to do all those first, and then we're going to come back and wrap it up with Bitcoin, ETH, Cardano, and XRP. We're going to do Turbo TA at the end. So let's go ahead and look at this. Let me pull up this is my altcoin one. So let's go ahead and Flow. Let's do it. How's everybody feeling today? Everybody, throw a one in chat if you woke up and if you feel like you have something to be grateful for. If you feel grateful, throw a one in chat. If you're looking for something to be grateful for, put a two in chat. Oh, sorry, I just needed a reason to get up and stretch my back there. So, man, Flow's not looking too healthy, man. Look at this. Look at these order blocks. Boom, boom, boom. Stair step, stair step, stair step. What's going to happen here? Well, let's go out to the daily charts here. Let's go to our traditional indicators. Okay. Money flow expanding to the downside. See this right here? There's a check in money flow. Now, option T, we've got, I'm grateful for all you fine folks. So we have this sort of descending trend line also on the RSI here. This actually kind of projects all the way back to here, it looks like, just in general. But RSI is quite low. This we can see here. We can see here price broke all the way down. The bulls ate it right back up, but we are falling down again. So this is looking relatively weak. Go to auto. But we did get a huge interest in volume here. You see this? Huge interest in, it's starting to peak up here. So let's kind of go down to the 4 hour. Well, hold on, let me go to, does anybody know, because I don't ever look at Flow, is there another chart that is older for Flow? I don't want to go through searching through a bunch of charts to find an older chart. Maybe KuCoin? I mean, that's not much better. Okay, this is, if anything, this is kind of, these kind of projects are hard to do TA on because it looks like they don't have a lot of history, which means, what does it mean? If you can't look left, that means you don't have a map, right? The map doesn't play out exactly as it did before, but it does give you an indication where there's some price memory. So what this looks like is we do have a large falling wedge. It's kind of bizarre because this, I mean, it really starts right here if we really want to be technical, because we have the top resistance and it goes boom, 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 boom. So in this case, yeah, I mean, this is not something I would be buying just because this doesn't fit my sort of standards of what I would want to be looking at in a project. I might put a couple $100 in it, which is a very, very, very small percentage of everything I have. Basically, I would be putting pocket change in this. But we see, look at this. We're getting the money flow is breaking new lows here. Here, you see this? So money flows come out quite dramatically. The RSI is quite low here on the 3-day, and the stochastics are in a position if we're looking just at indicators. BitLab Academy and thoughts. Any thoughts on this question from Dronis? If we are holding tokens like Cardano, what do we have to do if it is deemed a security? I don't believe there's any repercussion on you. I'm not a legal expert in this regard, but I think what's going to happen is there will be, you know, if it's on an exchange where it's deemed a security, like where it's actually legally done, which, by the way, let's take a break. Let's take a little break here. Cardano was released in Japan. Okay. It was initially released in Japan and then sold on the secondary market here, and is one of the most decentralized coins out there from the way that the nodes and everything are. Now, looking at the library case, which is another coin that had to go through an issue with the SEC, it was deemed that their initial offering, their initial coin offering, was a security. We didn't even have the ICO here in the US. Their ICO is in another foreign district. So that's irrelevant to us already. The only way we were ever able to buy Cardano was on the secondary market. In the library case, it was deemed that all of the sales and trading on the secondary market was not a security. So I think that can give you a little bit of, I don't want to say hopium, but a little bit of soften that sort of stance on all this stuff. So I think we'll keep you updated as more things develop. But so as this is breaking down, we have no roadmap here. This is coming towards, if I was looking just not caring that this doesn't have any price action to the left, if I'm looking at it just like this is coming down to the apex, meaning, you know, close to the very end of this. Now, if we were to project this out like this, let's see where this crosses right here. We're right about the level. We're right about the point we want to be on a falling wedge that you would be starting to look for a breakout. And now this is a falling wedge, so you would expect it to break to the upside. Given how the market is performing right now, and this is, I'm guessing, a smaller cap coin as compared to anything in the top 50. I don't know that for sure, though. So rather than me just talking out my butt, let's go ahead and pull it up. Flow. It's not, so it's, yeah, it's rank number 71. So it's got a market cap of 465 million. So it's not terribly small. And I do know several people that really like this project. So it's just not something that it's been on my radar for what I look at. But as this is, you know, as other things are suffering and the people are worried about the security sort of stuff, I'd be a little hesitant to be looking to buy something like this. I think that this may, you know, probably bounce around in here, may get a bit of a false breakout, potential rejection at this point of control, which is the highest volume, the highest amount of volume traded at this price level, which is right about the $1.11 mark, but this is projecting too far out. I think really as it stands right now, this is setting up for potential buy in terms of where we're at on the signals and what's going on. However, I would want to see the money flow starting to turn a little bit before that. The momentums are all the way on the bottom. Our size all the way at the bottom. If we look at the BitLab trading stack, we can see, look at this. We got the blue signal saying the multiple indicators are showing undervalued. We have the relative extrema showing that this is trying to balance. We have, you know, 3 bullish divergences, but I'm seeing this as a very small range. I'm seeing this as something that's probably going to be something like this, maybe a little bit of a fake out, and then, you know, likely at some point drop to the downside. Now, given I don't follow any of the fundamentals of this token. So there could be some fundamental development that sends this actually breaks away from the rest of the pack and moves up. So we need to be aware of that. Man, my back. Doctor said I need a backiotomy. Oh. Ah. All right, let's go ahead and look at this. This is, yeah, I mean, this is not giving me much. Caspa. I don't know why we're looking at Caspa, but let's look at Caspa. This, I mean, what's this? What's up with you guys doing all these little degen coins, man? So this is very bearish to me. Very bearish. Why? This was blue, turned gray. This was a basically parallel channel, rising channel. Rising channels tend to break out to the downside. This did break out to the downside. What it looks like to me is we already got one rejection here. It looks like it's likely going to get some sort of rejection here and probably trade down to about this level. Why do I say that? It's kind of a range. Why do I say that? Because all this, if I drag this out, we have support here, we have resistance, we have all this resistance and support here. And if we drag this further out, you can see, yeah, that was it. Now, if we do, we can't even do a fib on this because it's so. Yeah, this is looking weak to me. Even though we had the bullish divergence right here on the volume, look at how far out immediately, look at how far out the relative extreme of bars are here. Question for Hard Fork Crypto. Hey man, will BitLab Academy be creating a course on portfolio creation? Would love to hear your thoughts. Thank you. We could do it in concept. We can't tell you what to buy or why to buy it. We can give you the fundamentals and what things we look at. And I talk about that a little bit. I talk a little bit about that in the trading fundamentals. I think it's in trading fundamentals. It might be in psychology of trading course here. Let's come over here. Do all. There's a bunch more. There's a. Portfolio management. So we have, this is in the trading fundamentals area. Now we can expand on that and do more, but that is in there. So the big shout out, by the way, anybody, if you haven't come check out bitlabacademy.com, definitely make sure you come check it out. We've got, we have basically free memberships for people that are wanting to learn the basics, the Bitcoin 101, blockchain 101, and some introductory things in the crypto beginners course. And then of course the all access, that's this right here. Sign up for the free. That's just the very basics. And then the all access right here gets you access to our premium Discord, the AMAs that we're doing weekly, which are private just for members, where we break down charts and we could talk about things, and you get access to all the courses that are currently there and all the courses that are coming. And you can do the BitLab Pro if you want to get the indicators and the all access, and you get them bundled together at a discount, plus the Ray Pulse indicator, which is something that you can only get if you're a member anyway, and access to the premium Discord. So you can still use Give Me 30 for 30% off of this is already discounted. This would be like $128, $130 some dollars, discounted down to 97. So this is, we don't do coupon codes on this. If you already have a membership of either the courses or the indicators, you can upgrade to basically add this to your cart when you're logged in and upgrade to this. And it will give you 50% off your first month of it. And then to account for the fact that you may have just paid for one or other membership subscriptions. So it gives you 50% off the first month. So the smart thing to do is wait till right about the day before your renewal thing is going to go through. Come here and upgrade, and then you'll basically get 50% off for free, not having already paid that month. So let's go ahead and dive back in here. This is looking bearish. This very well, I mean, it could just shoot to the moon. These things that are smaller caps with not a lot of history. Let's do one more. Caspa. I need to do another. Exchange. Yeah, this not recommended. But then again, I don't recommend any coins. This is not financial advice. Finance. Cosmos. Actually, you know what? I have it over here. I think I already have one with. Sometimes I just cannot find things on the. There we go. Auto. So let's go to the 3-day. My eyes just go to it, man. I'm telling you. I just look at it and I see. I have chart dreams. I'll be dreaming about charting. But you see this? We're in this giant symmetrical triangle. A giant symmetrical triangle. We had this little bit of an inverse head and shoulders right here that failed. As it stands right now, it also looks like within this giant triangle that we do have a bit of a yeah. I don't know how much I would trust that line though. Let's go ahead and make this a little bit dimmer. A little bit dimmer. Yeah, this looks a little stronger than those other two trash can fires that we just looked at. This has the blue wave. It has a relative extremity sticking out. We have a bullish divergence on the MACD histogram. If we look at market cipher, we can see this is trying to clip with the green dot. Momentum coming back up. We have the VWAP coming back up. We have the RSIs have kind of pulled back together here and flipped green. Money flow is still coming out. If we come down to the 12-hour, which is more likely what we want to see, option F from the top to the bottom. Okay, this didn't even get up to the 0.5. This is looking weaker on this time frame. On this 3-day time frame, we're getting into a zone that's likely going to be a buying opportunity. On the short term, it's looking a little more questionable. This has tried to come up. Now look at this. We have a lower high. We made an attempt, broke down, made a weaker attempt, meaning we didn't get as high as the previous one right here. We didn't even take the 0.5 fib. So unless this is going to do something like, you know, basically, let me actually, now I just changed all the colors of the thing. Okay. So option T, we got a bit of a falling channel here. If this is going to kind of come up like it is, go like this and then continue up, then that's going to be great. But as it stands right now, this is looking relatively weak. Looking specifically at market cipher though, we have this large green dot here. And if this were to roll over right here and start going, then we'd have basically anchor wave and a trigger wave. Now, if we come over here to the, what do we call it? The traditional indicators, we see that the RSI is pushing up right against the 50 line and it's being suppressed there. We're seeing the strength not be able to come in to confirm that we're going into some sort of bullish movement. So isn't that interesting that even though we got the push up, look at the RSI, it stayed stagnant. It stayed stagnant right here at this 50 line. What do I mean by this? Option J, this is right at the 50 line. Look at this, pushed up and it's being held right at the 50 line. So the strength, the buying pressure and the strength, the interaction in the market is not agreeing with higher prices. There is some speculative drive here, but it's no follow through. Now the stochastics are in a downtrend. I'd like to see this come all the way down into the zone on the 4-hour. Then I'd be interested in potentially looking at a buy. But as it stands right now, this is basically in a downtrend that the bottom is falling out from under it. I want it to find its legs, likely even come down and retest this area down here at $7.70. So we're going to want to look at that. If it doesn't do that, then what we can do, option F from the bottom to the top. Yeah, the golden pocket is just above this zone. So if we don't get all the way down there, $7.90. But if we're coming down to this low, I do think we'll get a wick and touch this sort of line down here. So that's what we're seeing on Atom. Now VET, V-E-T. Binance. We're just doing all Binance on these. Just because they have a lot of history. Let's go to the 3-day, see if there's any. Okay. Ooh, this looks ugly. You see, first thing I see? Do you see what I see? Head, shoulders. Boom, boom, boom. And this has broken this neckline. So is this an indication? Is this an indication on Binance, that we may be coming down to this level right here. Now, why do I draw this line here? It's going through all these candles. Why the hell would you draw that line there, Kelly? This square rectangle. The reason this line is here is, look, this bounced here, this rejected in these zones, this rejected, this a little bit broke through, but that's okay. We had this interaction right at the top here, and it's also sitting right on the shelf of what this volume profile is right here. So, Brad Kellam, what's up? That's my daddy-o. Now, what we can see here is that there's a lot of people in the market that see this. They look at it right here. This is what they see. They see this right here, and they go, man, we got this rising level of support. This is bouncing on it. This is a buying opportunity. But if you don't take the moment, you see the broken shoulder. Exactly. This is a broken shoulder right here. Broke the neckline. This dude's shoulder is just hanging off. He's looking like Quasimodo right here. You say, hey, man, you transmogrify my life right now. You see what I'm saying? It's breaking down. It's breaking through. And what this is telling me right here, if we look at the story of momentum, we see the story of momentum here. We can do this line there, or probably more appropriately there. So there's a little bit of saving grace here, and that is this right here. So this is a head and shoulders, but we also have a bit of a, again, these are a lot of these falling wedges that we've been looking at are kind of broken because this doesn't go, I mean, we can kind of go like this, I guess. Yeah. So boom, but this doesn't, this comes all the way down, all the way back here. So it's a very delayed sort of falling wedge. We like to see it when you have a very strong falling wedge. It's when you have a clear concerted price movement like this, down, up like this. And we're kind of getting that, but digital assets are new. There's not as much history. There's a lot more money moving around and liquidity pressures. So we'll give this as a falling wedge within a head and shoulders here. So if this is able to, and interestingly, if we look at this, as it is, that falling wedge also, although we broke the shoulder, we also bounced right at this falling wedge here. So if we're able to support here and price isn't lost, if we don't lose this level, then what I see happening potentially, there's two scenarios. If we lose this level, we're going to be going down to this level down here, which is this is VeChain. For some reason, I thought I was still on Binance Coin. I thought I was on Binance Coin for some reason, and I was like, wait a minute, this is going to go down to 0.8 of a cent. I was like, something's wrong here. No, this VeChain, if we lose this level here, I think we will be dropping, basically this would be essentially from this level here would be another 33% down to the support below it. So we need to pay attention to this. Now, VeChain has been around for a long time. They've got a lot of supply chain logistics, a ton of partners. They are initially a Chinese-based company, which they have they've moved and set up locations in multiple different places, changed their headquarters. But think about this though: if the liquidity is coming into China and they're starting to support digital assets, are they also going to be pouring any sort of liquidity into stuff like VeChain? So coming here, Devin, what'd Devin say? I can't see it. I don't want to scroll. So what we want to watch for here is coming up here, everybody getting very excited and sort of rolling back down here and then doing that, or coming up here, getting rejected, coming into this zone, and then pressing bullishly out of this zone. So that's what I'm seeing on VeChain. So the level I would watch right now is, are we holding 13.3 cents, or are we going to push up to 17.5 cents, which is this zone right above us? That's what I'm seeing on VeChain. Let's look at DOT. DOT is not something that I'm interested in. I mean, I think they have a great project, but I'm not a big fan of, sometimes you just got to experiment here. Are we on log? Yeah, okay. Man, this is ugly. This is ugly. There we go. It looks like a falling broadening wedge right here, but this is going to be a secondary line. I'm going to make this it's a secondary line, and then we have, yeah, but this is ugly. It's ugly, man. So let's come over here. What is this zone that we have right here we're finding support on? Well, it's the end of the zone of support of where volume, the volume profile is here, how much volume is traded at each one of these prices, right? And it's also where the floor was back here once we had the initial push up and we found this floor. So if we lose, let's go ahead and look at this. Everybody wants to talk about price discovery to the upside. Nobody wants to talk about it to the downside. If we lose this level right here, which is $3.80, we lose this level, then I think it's going to be a rock falling out of the sky with the parachute that says, no, mofo. Okay. Yeah, I don't know where that came from, but you can see like we're really hinged on finding support in this band. If we don't find support in this band, now currently we have option J, Alt J if you're on PC, it gives you the this horizontal ray. And we can see that this zone right here, we're finding support on this, but the next zone is right below us, right at the bottom side of this this range we laid out. So if we lose this level, we got about a 9% drop to either take off the parachute and just go straight into the ground, or decide we didn't want to take a plane skydive and figure out what we wanted to do with our capital. So if we do bounce from here, first spot I got the hiccups today, man. The first spot I would be looking for would be the golden pocket, which is directly above us, not directly above us, but if we bounce here, the first line I'd be looking at, and this makes sense too. You see this broadening wedge I was talking about, this falling broadening wedge, meaning this is narrower here than these two trend lines here. It's broadening. If you don't know what that means, I'll buy you a dictionary. If you don't know what broadening means, then maybe you shouldn't be trading geometric shapes on a chart. So what we're seeing here is we got this broadening wedge. It's angled to the downside, which is actually somewhat of a bullish structure. The problem with these is there's no determination because it's not like a rise. It's not like a wedge where you have 2 points that are coming together, right? Where you can anticipate where the end of that shape is. With the broadening wedge, this could be months, getting wider and wider and more volatility. I don't think that's going to be the case, but the point is, this is broadening, and what we could see happening with this is this, even if it came up, rejecting right here. This is this trend line that we're seeing right here, right between these tops. This broadening wedge. This is also perfectly in line. If this plays out in this zone, this is a golden pocket meeting confluence with that trend line. So that's something that could happen. It also very well could come down like this. Come up, get rejected, come all the way out here, come back down like this. We need to understand what's going on with the context of the market. So in terms of levels I'm watching immediately on DOT, I would be looking immediately at right above us, this 382, which is $5.27. If we have weakness, this is going to come up to this level, which is also the low right here. If this gets rejected, then I'd be looking at this and actually looking at it breaking and at minimum testing this zone right here, which is $3.84. Now BAT, I don't know if we've ever looked at BAT. I know those individuals in Wuhan did though. Bitstamp. So let's go ahead, zoom out this sucker. Man, you guys are giving me some charts with, okay, we're on the 3-day. So we're on the 3-day. So 12-hour. Man. And there's not much volume on this. So let me go ahead and I need to go to, what do I mean by not much volume? I can tell there's not much volume because you see the jumps and gaps between price. It's because it's not being traded very much on this. So let's go to here. This is what a chart's supposed to look like. You don't want to be trading a chart. You can buy, but you don't want to really be trading on an exchange that has a chart that looks like that, because there's going to be a lot of slippage, which means you might hit market buy and you see the prices at this level. You're like, great. You do a market buy and all of a sudden you look at your average entry on that and it could have jumped 20% because there's no liquidity. There's not many people trading in the order books. There's not many limit orders. There's not many markets at certain prices. So when you market buy, all it does is it basically sucks up everything it needs in the order books. And if there's not much, for instance, if you're buying something like a meme coin that, you know, you're only spending $100, but the $100 could be 100 million tokens of that meme coin because there's trillions of them. But there's not much volume on whatever exchange you're trading on, and you market buy, then say it's not going to be 1 cent, but say it's 1 cent for an easy way to understand this. Sorry. Allergies or something. If there's not much people trading that at prices that are near the level that you're seeing on that exchange, and there's people, you know, there's people that think it should be, they're not going to buy until it gets all the way down here. And other people, I'm not going to sell until it gets all the way up here. And you hit market buy, you're going to basically clear however much is needed to fill your order all the way up until your order's filled. And if there's not much liquidity in those books, you know, that's what slippage is called. Why would anybody market buy? I agree. There are moments when it makes sense, but for small amounts, you know, for amounts that don't move the market whatsoever, you know, if you're buying $1,000 worth of something and, you know, you are looking for, I don't know, you're just doing it in a moment. I definitely recommend anybody that does trade, you force yourself to do limit buys. If you don't know what a limit buy is, get over into bitlabacademy.com and get over into bitlabacademy.com and check out the Trading Fundamentals course. We break, it's the right, where is it at? Trading Fundamentals. We break down what limit buys are, market buys are, stop limit buys. All these things are important for you to understand to navigate the market correctly. Because if you're not able to set a limit order, then that means you don't know how to be patient. Setting a limit order means, quick little basics for any beginners out there right now. Setting a limit order means a market order is just boom, you're going to buy right here, and it's just going to take from different other people that have limit orders in the order books. A limit order would say, I'm not going to buy until this price comes back down to this level right here. And you put that order in as a limit order. So then when price comes back down, then, and there's somebody else that wants to sell because they're getting scared. Then when they go to sell, then your limit order is triggered. And then you also pay usually less of a fee, if no fee, depending on what exchange you're on. Market makers pay a fee when trading because you're taking liquidity from the market. Limit orders, you're technically a market maker, and you get to you're setting a market at the price that you want to trade that asset. You can also do it for sells. You buy it here, you set your limit order. I want to take profit when it gets up to here because I want to be out of it by then. And so when the price touches that level and there's another person that wants to buy, then your limit order gets triggered and it sells to them. And that's part of the reason why when you see price come up to a level and it starts weakening, it's because people have limit orders in those areas and there's liquidity being taken out, and then the momentum is the buying momentum shrinks because there's selling pressure here because people had limit orders at known levels. That's why it is important for you to look at a chart and go like this. I know everything. Duh. No, I don't. I don't know shit. You scroll out like this and you go, okay, boom, option J. You go, boom, option J. You got your levels just like this. And you can see based on price action on previous price action from zones. A great example of this is looking at this chart right here. This is giving me the map showing me where there's going to be an area of interest where other people may be trying to get out or get in. That's what these maps do. Okay. Now looking at BAT, this looks weak as all can be. Let's go to 12-hour. Golly, I hate this dang drawn tool. All right. So there's a big, so look at this. These dipped over here all the way down. This dropped right here, which is essentially this sort of zone. When this lost, this wick basically went to the previous lows back here. Okay. So if we lose this level again and start testing this, we may have a much lower to go on this asset. Now look at the MACD though. MACD is looking like it's trying to roll over, but it's also already rounding back out. What do I mean by that? It's, oh, no, it's not. That was just the, yeah. So it's coming in like this. Got a little rejection. We want to see if this is going to reject kind of like this and it rejected back down. But as it stands right now, the momentum is contracting bullishly. Are we going to see anything play out from that? Well, we do see the money flow coming in. What do I mean by that? On the downside, this means money's coming out. On the upside like this and expanding, this means money's coming in. We have the stochastics that are held below. Look at this, option J. They're held below the 50 line, which means it's not inherently bullish yet. I'd like to see this actually sort of stochastics come down and have the RSI sort of all this sort of set here, and then get a nice reset for this to push up to the upside. That's on the 12-hour though. So let's go ahead and look at the 4-hour. 4-hour, we're getting choppiness here. I'd like the stochastics to come down still. I'd like this to, even if it pushes right here, holds this level, and stochastics come down and reset. Now, that's what I'd like to see, but let's go ahead and go back. We need to look at the big dogs before we go. Question is right now, have you hit that like button? Have you hit that subscribe button? Have you dinged the bell? Participate in these streams. Let us know you like what's going on. Big love to everybody. Oh, we got 206 people in here and 217 likes. People are participating. That's good. I love all of you, each and every one of you. Now it's time for some Turbo TA before we wrap out the stream. So let's go ahead and look at this. Okay, Bitcoin is coming down into the zones that we wanted to look at, which is we had these marked out, these 3 boxes. This was an area I was looking for liquidity to come down to. It has tapped back into it. Now it's tapping into this box. Are we going to lose this box? If we do, what do we do? Are we so scared? Well, if we do lose this box, we have another level already down below us right here. Why? Because we looked left. Here's the 2 points on the chart, zoomed out, projected out. We actually need to adjust this. I can see that right there. Boom. Needs to be adjusted a little bit. You saw that was kind of within the chart candles. So that gives us a little bit of a lower target, but that's okay. If this loses this level, we have a couple levels along the way that we can look at. There's a lot of bouncing here. You see this bounce, bounce, bounce. This came up, got rejected below it. So if this lost this level here, I would be looking down here. But what we need to do, if we're really looking at all these levels, is take a Fibonacci all the way up to the top. So here's the caveat. Coming into this blue zone here, right below it, right basically part of the bottom side of it is the golden pocket. What do I mean by the golden pocket? The 0.618 fib, the 0.65 fib, the golden retrace zone. Whether you're bouncing or whether you're bouncing on a relief rally or pulling back, either way, these golden pockets hit so often it's not even funny. So if this this kind of gives me a little bit of confidence here, that where we're at right here, if we find support in this zone, I would say 23.9 or above. If we bounce and hold this level or above, we're still inherently bullish on a more bullish trajectory, because not only do we have a higher low if that happens, we're having a higher low that bounces right about where golden pockets are anyway. I mean, I believe, I could be wrong. I believe. So everybody thought that this dip right here was so scary. This bounced above the golden pocket. You see this? So these golden pockets are a valuable asset in your technical analysis. So if we hold this above $24,000, basically, I'm still very bullish. If we lose this, I'm still bullish until I'm still macro bullish on the short time frame. If we lose this, I'm looking down at these levels right in here, right about the 22.5 level. We do have these order blocks down here that this may come down and tap that liquidity. So either way, we'd still have a higher low. It's not until we break this $20,000 mark that I'd really be like, all right, man, we back to packing some groceries so we can get that extra capital, so we could put more money into markets. I'd be stacking capital as much as I could, dry powder, not necessarily putting in the market. I'd be stacking dry powder as much as I could so I could identify the shot that I wanted to take. Now, last thing we're going to look at right here is Ethereum. So look at that. We had a little bit of a, I don't know what that was, but so falling, a descending triangle, fell right out from there. Now this is, let's go ahead and mute the market intelligence. Let's mute the feather. Let's go, boom. So look at this. From this zone right here to this push up right here, where this is doing, it's, look at this, shot right down, lost the 0.5, shot right down into what? The golden pocket. And we're seeing currently, this is a daily. Let's go to the 4 hour. Yeah, this is finding support in the golden pocket. If we lose this zone, it's not the end of the world. If we lose this, we're going to come back down and test this zone right here at 1550. That's what I'm seeing. If we're able to bounce from this, next target up, I'd look for the 1730 area. If we're able to take that, we're going to retest this 1780 zone. That's what I'm seeing on Ethereum. I just want to say, everybody, if you haven't yet, if you like to win free money, if you like free access to stuff, come over to the BitLab Academy Twitter page, hit this retweet, hit this like button, follow us at Academy BitLab. Make sure it's got the gold check. We'll be drawing tomorrow, so tune in. We draw every Friday, or we have been, just maybe wrapping up soon. So take advantage of this. Hit this retweet, hit this like, and make sure you come and check me out today, 4 p.m. We're going to be doing Crypto Answered on my Twitter. I'll be posting a link about that here probably in about an hour or so. It's going to be Twitter Spaces. We got Gary Cardone and a couple other people. They're going to be part of this, Crypto Vet, my team. We're going to be talking about what's going on. So come give me a follow. With that, I love you all. I hope you all have an absolutely wonderful day. It's Thursday, man. We can be grateful for anything. Anytime we're having a hard moment, just remember, we got each other. We got the BitLab family. And with that, I got to say, I bid you adieu. Adios, muchachos. Thank you for coming. Thank you for always tuning in. Adios, muchachos. Thank you for coming. Hope to see you again and again. Adios, muchachos. Hit that like button, sucker.